G'day and welcome to the Hidden Why podcast. Happy for you to be here today with me. Thank you for tuning in. My name's Lee. I'm the host of the show, and this is episode 1163. My guest today is Miriam Putnam. I sit down with Miriam. She's a certified wellness coach, freedom from stress counsellor, and holistic mental health advocate. We talk all about how to de-stress the body, really honing in to the body itself. So looking at the 4 key areas that we can look at to help remove stress and create overall better well-being without all the medications and things that other people would prescribe us. This is a preventative approach to improving your overall health. And Miriam unpacks it delightfully for us today. We talk about sleep, we talk about nutrition, we talk about exercise, and we also talk a little bit about, testing your blood, getting blood work tested. So really interesting conversation. I hope you enjoy this one today. All the show notes can be found at thehiddenwhy.com, episode 1163. And you'll also find the links for Miriam in there as well. Guys, enjoy the show, and thanks again for tuning in. Hey, Miriam, welcome to the Hidden Why podcast. Great to have you here today.
Thank you so much, Lee. It's wonderful to be here today with you.
All the way from Tampa, Florida.
That's right. Yeah, I know we're across the globe from each other, but it feels
nice
like we're
weather,
right next door. Yeah.
Nice weather there. In summer, got the sun shining through your window, I can see.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
you
lovely.
can't quite make out the palm trees, but there are a bunch of palm trees out there. Typical Florida.
Yeah, beautiful, beautiful. Love it. So, Miriam, welcome to the show. Let's talk about wellness, because I know you're passionate about this field. But before we jump into that, I always like to get the backstory of what got you here. You come from an interesting line of people. I think, did you say your family founded Crayola crayons?
Yes, that's right. I
That's pretty
come
cool.
from a kind of long lineage of some pioneers. So Crayola crayons and Putnam Publishing, and Amelia Earhart was my great step grandmother. So I grew up with sort of thinking about legacy and adventure and being a pioneer and where everything was going to go.
Yeah. How did that feel growing up with that sort of lineage behind you? Like that's pretty exciting, but for you in a personal journey, like what was that like growing up?
Well, I didn't really know when I was a kid that it was different.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, when you're a kid, you don't really conceptually process those things. And my parents didn't, they weren't uppity sort of individuals. So they didn't make it like you're so different and you're better.
Wasn't
I
a big
never
thing.
grew up with that. It was not, yeah, it wasn't an air of that. So, because my mom she grew up very Christian. And so I was raised like that. I was raised in the church, and she
Yep.
was very humble and Bible study goer. And her dad, who was my grandfather, was a Baptist preacher. So I don't know, my dad's lineage, all that lineage goes on my dad's side. But since my parents they represented both sides of the coin, it just didn't really affect us.
Mm. Did it create a sense of adventure and curiosity for the world in you, or?
Well, yeah, I mean, as far as from my viewpoint, it was I always understood it was part of our lineage, and it was discussed as when we were young, as far as, well, what are you going to do? It was sort of that air. And in our household, it was expected everyone went to university and you would go on and do something with your life, and there's things to do and people to help, and a responsibility a bit embedded within the home, despite the family chaos that I also grew up in.
Family chaos. Everyone's got some chaos to talk about. What got you
Yeah.
into mental health wellness?
Yeah. So it was my mom struggling with mental health issues and doctors misdiagnosing her constantly. And I
Right.
was the individual in the family that stood as a black sheep
Mm.
as far as questioning the mental health community and psychologists and psychiatrists and doctors on, why is my mom had to take this medicine, and watching it not help, and then eventually, unfortunately, losing my mom to the
Mm.
broken mental health system, it just inspired me to find a pathway that could help families avoid that sort of atrocity.
All right, so not sticking with the status quo around the central narrative of medicine and holistic approaches, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, obviously medicine is important sometimes when
Yeah,
there's
yeah.
an emergency, somebody breaks their leg or somebody can't get sleep or something happens, and medicine is absolutely necessary. We have modern medicine, which is fantastic, but long-term medicine that creates harmful effects to someone's health is
Mm.
not ideal.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the whole Band-Aid solution to it all, again, there's a time and a place for it, but it seems like the narrative out there is, hey, if you've got an illness or an ailment, go to the doctor and get prescribed something and take that and then keep taking it. Rather
Yeah,
than,
it's
hey,
pretty.
what can we do to prevent, this longer term health issues that you might have? I'm 44 now, almost 45, and I'm not perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but I'm really looking into this area of preventative health, and I get people like yourself coming on the show talking to me, so that really inspires me, and hopefully the listeners out there too get inspired by that. That's really important. So was it particular that part of you, going through your mum's mental health that got you into this field then? Like before that, was it a part of you, like being the black sheep and thinking outside the box and not following the status quo?
Well, I mean, I think it was always kind of in my blood or
Yeah.
in me spiritually, honestly.
Have you always been spiritually? Like obviously you grew up in a church and had that Christian sort of element to your life, but
Yeah, I mean, I always knew I was a spiritual being. So
hmm,
I guess like that's what I mean as far as it was in my blood. It was in my spiritual nature to be more adventurous
hmm,
and think outside the box.
yeah. How do you
Yeah.
find at this stage? This is a topic I've been talking about in the last couple of weeks, and I've always been quite open and curious and happy to question things, but a lot of people in this world, and I'd love your thoughts on this. It seems like we're not doing that as much. Like we don't question things, we just sort of accept it and go with it rather than, asking why, I suppose.
I know. Uh, we all should be asking why a lot more regularly. I agree with you. Are you saying like why don't we as a population ask why?
Well, what's your thoughts? Like, do you think it's fairly significant now that that's more and more the theme of, just follow the narrative and
Yeah, I mean, I think that between news and government and doctors, we
hmm,
have been I hate to use the word brainwashed because I don't think people are really brainwashed, but almost like cattled in a direction of making life easier is just going with the flow.
yeah, yeah,
And I think the advancement of technology too has sort of dimmed the lights down on the younger generation and makes it a little harder to think about the differences and look at questioning when you're being bombarded by the messages and the technology and maybe the bad news. If you don't learn when you're younger to turn off the television or do your own research and ask why,
hmm,
then I think it's pretty easy to fall into the school of fish, so to speak.
yeah. And you're right, like the tech, social media, for example, the algorithms there, and if you follow one stream of thought, then that's what you're going to cop more and more. And, if you're not able or capable of just going out there and doing your own research and questioning things, that's what you're going to continue to listen to. And that's, obviously what you're going to believe and what you follow. So it's
Yeah.
interesting around the whole field of health as well. How do you think we could shift that, like to get people to question things more, or is it just conversations like these?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it would be conversations like these. It's at the top of the list.
Hmm. You listen to a
Definitely
lot
the
of
top of the list.
podcasts, or
Yeah, I mean, I try to do them quite frequently
yeah, yeah,
and then also doing content on social media, but there's so much content out there. So
Yeah.
I think really the connection between individuals that are on the same page and are fighting for truth in life and to create a better world for the loved ones and for the future generation is becoming more and more important, so that our cultures don't become just sort of washed away into everything equals everything and nothing really matters.
Yeah. Yeah. So with your work now that you're doing, what would be your number one goal behind what you're doing?
It is to help somebody get to their next level in life. So, what I focus on is helping somebody do a reset and rise. So, throughout all of my work and all of my studies and all of my research and doctor affiliations and everything that I've done throughout my life, it got me to the point of finding very effective solutions in order to dissolve the stress, find the stress, and then move past whatever that hidden subconscious stress is to get to the vision that you would have in life,
Hmm.
and then support an individual through the steps in order to live in that.
So why stress as the focus? Is stress the catalyst for our general well-being and physically, mentally?
Well, stress is this area of sort of this ambiguous and unknown category, right? We
Hmm.
hear from doctors all the time, oh, it's just stress, or stress created it. When blood tests are run and no biological reason in the body can be found, it's blamed on stress.
Hmm.
Okay, it is almost like this elusive monster or something.
Hmm. So
Do you
easy
find that?
scapegoat.
Yeah.
Um, Well, look, I think stress, I have stress tendencies and I have had anxiety in my life, definitely. I think a lot of us do, particularly in this day and age with everything going on and how busy we are. There's more and more stress. I think stress is a naturally occurring good thing for us, so we can, be more aware. But modern day stress, probably very unhealthy.
Yeah, right. I mean, there's definitely a difference between the stress that we put on our body from when we exercise,
Hmm.
the stress that we put ourselves under in order to get to future targets that we have set for ourselves.
Hmm.
But there's another category of stress, which is the emotional stress of maybe past trauma, the emotional stress of energy vampires in our midst, the stress from body health issues that are compounding and there seems to be no solution, or the very large category and quite suppressive area of mental health, this stress that is medicated. And currently right now, for sure, I know definitely in Australia it's the same as the United States, there is
Hmm.
not a blood test that has been absorbed and used with insurance companies to find underlying body health conditions. So when a person is having anxiety and it is debilitating to them, what is their solution? Because that's not a fun scenario to go through. And so what do we do?
We medicate.
Right. And that doesn't work out very well for us in the long term.
So do we link this stress and anxiety to, depression, mild depression, severe depression? It's all related, right? Or is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Right.
Because I see
I
it
mean,
more and
it
more in the world, but maybe I'm just more, observant of it or aware of it, and maybe it's always been around, but and I feel like it's generally not necessary stress. Like it's, it can be removed.
yes, you are correct. It can be removed. It can be dissolved. You know, and I didn't give up until I found an exact way to be able to do that. And so that's what I do now. Like first I start with body health,
Yeah.
and if somebody is going through something like anxiety or depression or psychosomatic symptoms, whatever they may be, if they are in the diagnostic statistical manual, then most likely something will be found in the body as far as an undiagnosed health condition. Did you follow me at all? You got it?
Yeah, yeah, yes. Yeah, you'll have to
So we
explain that a
start
little
with,
bit more. Mm.
yeah, we start with body health, and then there are, I don't know exactly what the labs are called in Australia, but the labs in America, there are a couple that will run tests to find out if a person has something like cat scratch fever, Lyme's disease. Maybe
Cat
there's
scratch
a
fever. Never heard of that one.
undiagnosed. Yeah, I mean, there's all these bizarre bacterias and viruses that can get in the body and actually cause mental health or mental illness like symptoms,
Mm.
even to the point where a person could be having seizures, and then a doctor might, you know, diagnose a person with schizophrenia or some sort of manic episode mental illness diagnosis when it actually is a toxic level of a bacteria and virus that are causing the symptoms.
Right. So when you're talking about body health, you're talking about like internally, like the bacteria, gut microbiome, things like that, or is it more physical body health or both?
Well, I mean, for me, I put those both those categories in the category as of body health.
Body health. Okay. Yep.
Yeah, because like if our foundation is our body, and
Yep.
so we have to start there because it's almost impossible to have very good mind control if we feel sick or we're not sleeping very well, or the list goes on, right? Because different people have different issues they're contending with.
So when you first look at a client and dealing with a client, you'll go straight to body health first and go, okay, what can we look at here to figure out,
Mhm.
where might be that cause of stress for you as the low hanging
Well,
fruit, I suppose.
yeah, I mean, for me, it starts with 4 steps. It's exercise, sleep, nutrition, and a comprehensive blood test. When is the last time that you've had a comprehensive blood test, and what kind of doctor did it?
Mm.
Was it was it strictly through insurance and it wasn't actually comprehensive?
Yeah.
Because unfortunately, insurance companies don't cover really, really, really good blood tests yet. You
Yeah.
can get a portion of them covered, but usually the entire test is not covered. So, what kind of doctor? And sometimes I'll be a liaison for an individual between finding them a good doctor. Like, do
Yeah.
you need a functional doctor? Are you fine with is there a holistic doctor in your area? Somebody that you can get to that can actually help us find the root cause in the body.
Yeah. Okay. So let's go into blood tests because this is an interesting topic. I know in America you guys are quite advanced with holistic blood tests and analyzing the metrics behind your blood works. In Australia, my experience was a couple of years ago because I heard about America, and podcasts and things doing this. I went to my doctor and said, I want blood tests. And he said, oh, what for? I said, I just want blood tests. I want to know what's going on. And he said, well, at your age, you really only need to look at these few things rather than the whole array of things that we can look at. He just, narrowed it down. And so it was a really disappointing experience for me. Now we do have company in
Yeah.
Australia, and I've just reached out to one that I'm going down that path with, and they'll,
Mhm.
measure 100 different biomarkers of your bloods.
Yeah.
So
Hmm.
blood tests, I mean, they can measure a lot, right?
Oh my gosh,
It
it's
fascinates me. I don't know enough
unbelievable.
about it, but yeah.
It's super fascinating what sort of things you can find.
Mm. So you would
Very
recommend
fascinating.
them to someone to get their blood tests as a first pillar of understanding their health?
Well, I mean, it just depends on where the person is at. So I'm really, since I consider myself a de-stress specialist, it just depends on where the person is at. And I always
Right.
ask about body health questions to first, because if any four of those things are out, then it has to be corrected.
Okay, so they're the easiest sort
But
of four areas to work on initially.
yeah, I mean, sometimes my favorite is to work with somebody who's got all their body health under wraps, and they have no mental health confusions, and they haven't been messed up by a doctor, and
Yeah.
all of those different things. But unfortunately, we don't live in that world right now.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay. So blood tests, you mentioned sleep. So what can we do to really work on our sleep in this area?
Well, I mean, sleep is such a huge category. It's
Mm.
7 to 8 hours of sleep every single night in order for the body to have a tip-top health condition. When we're stressed, and like I don't mean bad stress, but when we're working a lot, usually that number slips. And so staying aware of that and then being able to catch up on it is huge.
What's the
And
average number of
overall,
hours people sleep nowadays? Like, do you have stats on that in America or?
yeah, I mean, it's like 6 to 7.
Yeah. What about you?
But a
Do you
lot of
sleep
people are
well?
taking, yeah, because I
Yeah.
consider myself a sleep queen. I even have a download for people to get called 10 Steps to Better Sleep, just because I did so much work in this area trying to
Uh-huh.
figure out, like, is it tryptophan? Is it GABA GABA that your body needs? Is it holy basil? Is ashwagandha going to work really well for everyone? Is it going to be, you know, lemon balm? Like, what are the benefits of lemon balm? And red light therapy, do we all need it? Some people need it. Like, what is that all about? A grounding pad. I don't know, there's so many holistic, meaning natural
Mm-hmm.
techniques that can be used so that somebody can do things naturally instead of having to rely on a sleep medication for the rest of their lives.
So that's really cool. Sounds like there's a lot in there. And sleep. I suppose the subject of sleep is getting talked about a lot more now as well, and the strategies. No screens. A couple of hours before bed, and the environment you're sleeping in, etc. You've just rattled off some holistic, herbs and tonics, I guess, that you can take to help improve sleep. Do you just trial with those things, or can you look at someone and go, okay, well, I think it's this one, red light therapy, or gabba gabba, or
Well, so for me, because of the way that I coach and the way that I do my private spiritual practice, I
hmm,
I treat every single person the way that I would want to be treated, which is consulting their understanding and helping them work through what they would like to try. I mean, there
okay,
are some blanket sort of overall body health things that are true for everyone, but what's going to work for your body type compared to my body type might be different. For you, tryptophan may work really great, and for somebody else, magnesium may work really great.
yeah,
So there is a bit of a trial and error
yeah.
between that. And I don't even get into talking to people about shutting off their screens before bed, just because I truly think that if you use a grounding pad, you can kind of counteract that.
What's a
But I
grounding
don't,
pad?
and a grounding pad is something that simulates the same sort of energy that
Yeah,
a person gets when they go to a hike and put their feet in the dirt, or go to the
yeah,
beach and put your feet in the water.
yeah.
So these are the positive electrons that you get from the earth, and it helps the body stay in homeostasis. So all of the infrared and the negative electronic signals that our body gets that can kind of damage the cells. I don't know if you've ever heard about
Mm,
that,
mm, yeah,
but this could be something that somebody is very sensitive to and affecting their sleep. And if the person gets a grounding sheet for their bed or a grounding pad for their feet to use when they're at their computer working all day, it can, and I don't know that necessarily will stop all of it, but
yeah.
it helps to block it out.
Right.
So
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 it's about
you
the
can
energy
look up,
flow.
yeah,
They say like going for a walk on the grass, in the morning and at the evening is good for,
yeah.
grounding. Hmm.
Yeah,
Which a
exactly.
lot of
And so
people don't
this
do.
pad just simulates that. It
Yeah.
simulates that because it has it's just a cord that goes into the bottom outlet that is connected to the cords that go into the Earth's surface, right?
Yeah.
That stop our house
Yeah.
from
Right.
catching on fire,
Yeah.
right? So every
Yeah.
house is kind of built the same way, and we have these, cords going down into the ground. And so then that cord just plugs into the outlet, and it simulates that same method of the grass or the earth.
Grounding. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Interesting. Um, so you said you got a downloadable 10 things on your website, is it?
Yeah, yeah. I have a couple free downloads right now. There's complimentary downloads just to help people avoid the the situations that exist out there. So it's 10 steps to bettersleep.com.
10 steps to bettersleep.com. Is that through your website,
Yeah, you
miriamputnam.org?
can, yeah, you can get to that through my website.
You can, yeah, cool.
Yeah. Hmm.
So sleep really important. Exercise, you mentioned that. What do you tell your clients on exercise? Because I think sometimes with everything, all the noise that we hear around us, there's all different strategies and people get overwhelmed. I don't think it needs to be that complicated, but what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I agree with you. I totally agree with you, Lee. I totally completely agree with you. So again, in this area, I also consult somebody's understanding and what they feel comfortable doing.
Mm,
Because in life, what ends up happening to a lot of individuals when they start like a fad diet or a fad exercise routine or anything that they're like, okay, I'm gonna go do all this and I'm gonna go nuts and I'm gonna go do it every day and I'm only gonna eat 1,000 calories and I'm gonna go to the gym every day. Well, that usually doesn't last very long. And
yeah,
then they end up going on a roller coaster and it's up and down. And then there's weight gain that comes from that. And then there's all these self-deprecating feelings and everything. So I just work with somebody to choose what's real and doable from their viewpoint.
yeah,
So if it is choosing to take the stairs when they're going to work, if it's just like a small gradient, or if it is exercising 3 times a week instead of two, right? I mean, it just depends on where somebody's starting at.
yeah.
And then it's just consistency. It's just consistency, self-determined, consistent decisions. It's pretty basic,
It's just
but
building
it's not
awareness around it,
always
right?
easy for us.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's building awareness around it. And, I think I kind of take a little bit of the mystery out of it, even though what I do privately is still a little mysterious. But in the beginning steps, it is just supporting someone. I consider myself holding space for someone to find their own truth.
yeah,
And
yeah,
then, if they have questions, then I'm, helping them do research or finding a doctor or just finding their correct why. Because a lot of times in society, especially with doctors and unfortunately psychologists do this in an extremely rampant way, which is telling people what their truth is.
mm,
And that doesn't actually help because maybe a person can believe it for a little while, but they're still in their mind continuing to think, well, I know, but like, is it really that reason? Is it
yeah,
really? Is it really? Like it doesn't end up sticking or continuing for a long time, Lee, unless someone decides for themselves. Right? I mean, you see this a lot in marriages when the couple are having an issue. Maybe the guy's cheating or maybe the girl's cheating. Someone, went outside the marriage, or maybe there's a porn issue or something is wreaking havoc.
yeah,
And so you have one partner enforcing their viewpoint on the other partner, and then you have the other partner pushing back. So you have this fight of back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. Well, it doesn't ever dissolve until each individual can make their own decision on what is good for them. And sometimes it ends in, two people splitting up. But and that's a pretty extreme example, but it was just
yeah.
to illustrate the point of people do what they want to do.
Mm, mm. So helping them find what's within their capacity and in their truth, as you say, and sort of going down that path. I mean, I found it's always a journey. Like it's everyone wants overnight results, the short-term
Yeah.
satisfaction. But when you're starting out, if you're starting from ground zero, it might just be something simple like going for a 10-minute walk or choosing the staircase and things like that. But it'll grow
Yeah.
as you become more aware of it. And I think one of the best things for me is to consciously put that information in front of you. So listening to conversations like these and just, it's a continual reminder. Oh, yes, yes. And slowly yourself, you'll just be naturally inclined to, okay, I'm going to take the stairs today. You know what? I'm going to park down there and walk to the front door rather than try and get that parked right at the front, whatever it might be. And
Yeah.
same with exercise. You'll find the things that bring you joy and that fulfill you, but you're still getting a good workout.
Yeah. And we're all motivated for different reasons. We all have different reasons for our motivation and why we want to do certain things. And
Mm,
and so it's just finding the exact equation for
Yeah.
what each individual makes them tick. So when I'm doing virtual coaching, we find that by looking into the future, right? Because a lot of happiness comes from working on goals. A lot
Yeah.
of people are stuck in like right now and what's stressing them out and
Yeah.
all these different things. Maybe it's kids, maybe it's husband, maybe it's a job, maybe it's their family, maybe it's health, it can be all sorts of different things. But if we take the pressure off of today just for a bit and look at the future, then it's much easier for someone to see why they want to be working on more healthy and positive goals. Like what are they working for? Like what are you living for the next year?
Yeah. Do you find it challenging to get people to look into the future? Because I guess that, short-term focus, I mean, our world doesn't operate that well on looking, into the future. Most of our governments don't operate that well. We're very
I
short-term
know.
focused. So you look at 10
Yeah.
years, and I mean, I've always thought about this, and, it still gets to me sometimes when I do things. I'm just like, geez, that's not really beneficial to my long-term health because I'm not even thinking
Mhm.
about, when I'm 70 or 80. Um,
Yeah,
you know?
totally. Well, yeah, but it's a process that I take somebody through,
Yeah.
and then we look at the future and then we look at the existing scene. And then I help them work out a vitality plan on how they're going to get there for their body, mind, and soul health goals.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you look at when you talk about nutrients like diet? I think that was the fourth one, was it?
Mm-hmm.
So do you
Yeah,
look
there's
at
four:
yeah,
exercise, nutrition, sleep, and
nutrition?
blood test.
So nutrition wise, again, is it just about the individual and finding out what's best for them, or is there like an overall
Well, there
sort
is
of
some of that that goes into it, right, Lee? Because some people have like allergies and food sensitivities
yeah,
and certain likes and dislikes, and I don't give very significant about the food area. The only part of significance that I bring to the table are just basic body nutrients. Like every single person, every single spirit on this planet that operates a body has to be taking B1, for example, is like a staple that
yeah,
nobody really has any nobody talks about very much. So I always usually bring that up is B1. And then, are you taking D and do you take K with your D because your body can't use vitamin D without K?
yeah,
And then, overall, like I just ask, like, are you getting the nutrients from your food or do you need to supplement more?
yeah, yeah. So looking at the supplements, and again, that comes back to your blood works as well, I suppose. Do you look at diet overall? Like, is it, are you eating enough fruit and veg, or is it meat that you're missing, or is it just individual again on that basis?
It's just individual again because I don't get very significant about what somebody's choices are unless we're doing a special program on like weight loss or something like that, then it would get into counting calories and where the calories coming from.
Hmm.
But overall, it's usually my overall and exterior viewpoint is just on maintaining body health in order to go to the next phase in life for getting to your future.
Hmm. And I suppose you see it all the time, but if you've got high stress in your body, you generally don't have great diet. And also it doesn't help you metabolize as well. I don't know the science on that, but I
Yeah.
can see that, sometimes I think people overdo this. Oh, I need to focus on calories and stop eating this and eat, 4 grams of brown rice or whatever. Um, there's this focus on this like minute detail when it's really sometimes you probably, your diet may be not that bad, but it's just because you're overwhelming stress that it's not working for you.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, unfortunately, a lot of weight gain can just come from the category of stress too.
Hmm.
It doesn't
Hmm.
have to necessarily be because the person is eating so terrible.
Yeah.
The body can just hold, it's almost like the body holds this stuck energy or negative energy that's coming from the mind.
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting. So, what about mental health? I'm big into meditation. What are your thoughts there around your clients that you coach as far as helping them with the mental health in that field? Because I assume as a spiritual person, you probably quite like to delve into that.
Yeah, I love it. So, what's the question exactly? Like how to do it or what to do?
Do you have techniques that you prescribe to people about, mindfulness
Yeah, so
activities?
I Yeah, okay. So I see what you're saying. So I trademarked a an exercise that
Okay.
I use in virtual coaching, which is called exercising your mind muscle. So one of
Yep.
the things that I do with someone is talk about the happiest time in their life. So a lot of times people are focused on what's bad, and that's where the mind goes a lot of times. Like the stress or in the mind, and got to get this done and that, and oh my gosh, this is happening and that's happening. And so a lot of my coaching techniques are focused on switching into the positive. And so, and in the beginning of every session, I ask if somebody wants to do a mindfulness exercise.
Hmm.
And this is the mind muscle exercise that I'm telling you about. So
Right.
either, you can keep your eyes open or you can keep your eyes closed. And then it is going through really a happy moment. And
Yep.
usually I ask if somebody's like, if there's a lot of action, maybe they like to hike and they remember to hike that was 5 years ago, and they were with a lot of their friends and there was family members there, and nobody thought they'd be able to do the 5 mile hike, and they did it and they felt really proud. And then there's a party at the end, and I don't know, anyway, so
Yeah, yeah,
it's
yeah. So
it's
shifting the
that. And
mindset.
then, yeah, shifting the mindset, because there's all this attention on mindset, and then vision boards and doing things like this that don't actually work for someone if they're in an unconscious part of their mind, in a kind of a repetitive circuitry part of their mind, because that part of our mind doesn't allow us to get above it and create for the future. So I work with somebody on shifting that and actually strengthening the muscle in the mind. And I'm like, coined this phrase to illustrate that there's a muscle in the mind, much like we go to the gym and we lift weights to build our biceps or our leg muscles. We are pretending that there's a muscle in our mind and thinking about good memories and happy times when we were, taking a bike ride or playing with our
Yeah.
kids or going on a boat or doing all the things that make us happy, or maybe getting an award at work for being the best writer that
Yeah.
year.
Hmm.
So focusing on the good times in life, like, oh my gosh, I never thought that I was going to finish the master's program. And then I finished and I was awarded with an award. Okay, so that is a happy moment in someone's life that they worked really hard for. So rehabilitating those moments so that then an individual naturally remembers their strengths and
Hmm.
why they're working towards their future.
Yeah.
So I don't ever have to tell somebody what they have to do. It just becomes natural because of the positivity that I imbue in the relationship
Hmm.
of 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 not allowing it to go negative.
Yeah. Yeah. And this is why I like the practice of gratitude, morning and night, when you're lying in bed for
Yeah.
me. It's just a really
Yeah.
simple technique that can help shift you into that positive frame of mind rather than the negative.
Yeah, like focusing on what do I have to be happy about?
Hmm.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I think that
Really?
that's a good healthy habit. It's a very simple healthy habit. And the mind muscle exercise just takes it a step further as far as ensuring that we're in our more conscious, analytical, forward-thinking mind,
Hmm.
instead of the part of the mind that remembers the divorce or remembers our parents passing away or remembers some raise that you didn't get at work, or whatever. Life can be challenging, right? There can be lots of different things.
Yeah, yeah. So Quick question for you. If there was one question I should have asked you about your work that I've missed, what would that be? Do
I
you
don't
think we've
think you
covered
missed
it?
anything. Yeah, I mean, I like to naturally have a conversation and then, just wherever it takes us, because I don't have an agenda other than being here to help.
Yeah. I like that. That's my approach to this
Yeah.
podcast as well. So
Yeah. Yeah.
miriamputnam.org, is that the best place people can go to find out more about you? And obviously there's those downloadable worksheets, 10 steps to better
Yeah, the
sleep,
PDFs are
wellness
there. They're
checklist.
downloadable.
Yep. Is that the best place to go for you? Are you on anywhere else you want to share?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I have an Instagram. I'm on social, but yeah, my website is easy because somebody can book a complimentary clarity call or download complimentary PDFs that go over the mental health wellness journey, goes over the jewels that I found in looking for the truth regarding mental health, and a good vitamin company that exists in Canada that will actually coach somebody if they're interested in getting off psychiatric medication,
Right.
nonprofits that exist in America that work on advocacy for rights and what mental hospitals should look like, respite centers.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
how do we get rid of human rights abuses in the field of mental health? So if somebody is like struggling in an area of mental illness or mental health, there's a download for that. And if somebody's struggling with an area of sleep, because sleep can really exacerbate mental illness type symptoms, even though it's just lack of sleep. So that's there. And then the overall wellness checklist just goes over, there's about 10 questions at the end that I a lot of times will just coach somebody on in a complimentary way in the first
yeah,
call
yeah.
to put a little more order into their life and start helping them with thinking of things that are more positive.
That's awesome. Lots
Yeah.
of value there, guys. So make sure you check it out.
Yeah.
miriamputnam.org. Link will be in the show notes as well. Any final words, Miriam?
Well, you're fantastic, and I'm really happy that we met today and you invited me on the
Oh,
show,
thank
and I
you.
look forward to another time.
It's been an absolute pleasure. Yes, you're writing a book now, so make sure you reach out when you got that coming.
Yeah, definitely. Lee, you're wonderful. Enjoy the rest of your day and your week, and I'll talk to
You
you
too.
soon.
Thank you so much, guys. Check it out at thehiddenwhy.com. Until next time, peace, passion, and purpose. See you soon. Okay, that's a wrap. Thank you so much for tuning in this week to this interview. I hope you enjoyed the conversation we had. Make sure you check it out at thehiddenwhy.com for all the show notes and links to our guest. And if you have any comments, any suggestions for the show, please make sure you reach out as well. Also, would like to just ask a favor. If you do like what you're listening to, if you love what you're hearing, make sure you subscribe, whether you're listening to this on iTunes, wherever it might be. Subscribe to the podcast so you can stay up to date with all the latest episodes and some exciting changes happening this year at The Hidden Why, including the launch of our new website, which will be updated very soon. So watch this space for that, guys. And once again, live more fully, have more meaning, find more joy. We'll see you around the next interview.